It's solo episode week on Melanated Conversations. This week on the show, Terrian and I check in with one another to reflect on recent developments this year. We get candid with our feelings and discuss our journey of a few health scares, as well as explore our emotional well-being in this time, and we offer a few encouraging lessons from this season. We're delivering this chat with no frills, just pure raw conversation, unedited and unfiltered. So grab a glass, y'all, and unwind with us.
Welcome to Melanated Conversations, our narrative from our perspective.
Here on the podcast, we are amplifying the voices of Black women and sharing their powerful stories of transformation.
I'm Terrian.
And I'm Yana. Let's start the show.
What's up, y'all? Y'all know who we are. Welcome back to another episode of Melanated Conversations. I'm your co-host, Terrian.
And I'm your co-host, Yana.
If you can't tell by now, this is an episode where we're just going off the cuff. We realized we hadn't actually done just like a solo type of episode where it's just me and Yana. We brought y'all a lot of guests this season. Really, the past 3 seasons, we've been giving y'all some hitters. But anyway, we just wanted to come on here and chat with y'all, check in, do a little reflecting so far on just how we've been feeling, how we feel about our podcast. And I don't know, Yana, you want to say anything? I know you want to say something.
I'm not gonna lie. This morning started off kind of a little unexpected today. I feel like I don't want to get through I don't want to make this conversation. I don't want to take us down. I don't want to
be a Debbie Downer.
Yeah. But I mean, I knew this was on that calendar, and at first I was like, I don't know if I have the energy in me today to really talk through.
Yeah.
But then I thought about what we were talking about today, and I was like, you know what? Despite everything that's been going on this year, as it relates to us personally, but especially relating to this show, there is a lot that we have to be thankful for, and just really thinking about how this past year of us going through this show and growing our show, and how we've made some, amazing leaps that we didn't even expect where we will be at this point. Because when we started, it was like, who we gonna interview?
Right?
Who's gonna talk to us? Who's gonna listen to us?
Right.
And how this season alone, this 3rd season, it is something about the number 3.
Father, Son, and Holy Ghost, the Holy Trinity.
And it's my Jesus year.
It is your Jesus year.
It's just 3.
That double 3. That
double 3. But well, we are definitely grateful for every season that we've had on this show. And I think this season was so special for Terry and I because we went deeper than we have in any of our seasons. And it really cut to the origin of why we wanted to create this particular show itself, because we wanted to have these deep conversations, not just between Terry and I, but with other women who experience some of the same things, and can tell a story from their own, based on their own experiences, but also people who are experts, and doing great work, and helping with particular topics or issues that are for us.
That are important and that are vital for us as Black women. I don't mean to cut you off, but just definitely thinking that and if I'm being honest, even when you and I first sat down and we were talking through just what we wanted for this show, and we knew our aim and wanting to have a platform for Black women. But in all honesty, in my mind, like I never even imagined that we would even be sitting down and having conversations with what you just said, like with women like who are out here, who have major platforms, who have done the work, that these women are experts in their field, and can speak truth to these issues that are so important to you and I and the other Black women around the world. These are things that we deal with on a daily basis that are affecting our lives and our livelihood. And so I never even imagined, I think God has just been so good to us in that area. Is like, he's gone above and beyond. And it's not that we didn't have or set great expectations for this show. You know what I mean? We always have and still do have, like, you know, these big picture ideas. But I think the way and the rate that they started just kind of coming at us was definitely unexpected. And I'm just super grateful for that. And it's so cool because, you know, sometimes Yana and I, this is a transparent moment. Sometimes we're kind of like, oh, is this working? Like, is this really working? Like,
yeah, we talked about this last week where we didn't realize that both of us at the same time or at different times were having some of these same feelings thoughts. And questioning if, you know, is it worth even still doing this show? Like, are our outputs being matched by the things that we're investing in to create this show? And sometimes when you look at things from, when you look at it, not necessarily just from the monetary side, no, that was one piece of it.
Yeah.
But when you look at it from this,
like, as far as impact is concerned, or
I guess just for us, we had to refocus back on the vision and what really of why why we created the show.
Yeah.
Not let that be tainted by, tainted by, you know,
numbers.
Yes.
Yeah.
And seeing, you know, we fall into this space sometimes where we kind of can like compare our progress. And although we are definitely progressing, sometimes it feels like you're still standing still.
Yeah.
But through this experience, I would say, because especially with our episode with Dr. Yana, which probably had, by the time this episode is aired, we probably have already aired that episode.
Yeah, definitely.
That conversation, I felt was everything that we needed at that moment.
Yes.
Not even just from the topic of the lens of, you know, how we were discussing some of like the mental things around being a Black individual in America, but more so the testimony that she shared and how, you know, just leading with the vision and trusting in the plan and the way that the plan plays out is that it's all working. As long as you are doing what is asked of you and you know, you're leading with a service mindset, like
God's still in the background. He's always working.
Yes,
he never stops.
He's still working. He's still moving, even when you feel like you're sitting still. He's
still
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, and it's crazy too. And you know, like you just said, you know, by the time y'all hear this, you should have already listened to Dr. Rihanna's episode. But, you know, just even from the perspective of sometimes feeling like, oh, you've been pulled from a certain place to another place. And it's like, oh, this looks promising. And then you get there and it's like, well, wait, okay, I thought this is kind of what I'd always dreamt of. You know what I mean? Or I'm in such a good place. Like, this is a promising place. And then God's like, I just kind of put you here to remind you of some stuff, to really remind you of what I truly called you to do. And only put you here in this position for that one reason. And that's it. And now, so I'm going to remove you and put you where I've always plan for you to be. But you know what I mean? Sometimes you can be put in situations where it's literally just to remind you, you know what I'm saying, of where you are supposed to truly be. And sometimes, sometimes I think for some people, it looks like, oh, this is great. This is awesome. And then for some people, it may look like, I didn't ask to be here. Why am I even here? You know what I'm saying? Or like, this is not going how I planned it to go. And I think sometimes God is like, that's the problem. Because this ain't your plan at the end of the day. Like, I'm using you as a vessel, you know what I'm saying, for my works and my thing, for the things that I want accomplished to be done. And he can get it done without us, but he's put us on earth for a special reason, for a special purpose. And so a lot of times we have to remove self out of the way and just be like, okay, I'm just going to submit and I'm going to take my hands off of it, because anytime I touch stuff, I mess it up. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Like, even if you're not intentionally trying to mess it up, like, you messing stuff up. And so that was such a, like you said, that was just such a powerful episode. Just from the work that she's doing to just her testimony in general. And like Yana said, it was so refreshing to hear. It's such a, that was good stuff. That was good stuff. And so definitely kind of, in some ways, I think maybe was a reminder for us, considering the conversation that you and I had just had. Was it that same day we were talking before we got on the call with her?
I was like, do we, after this year, do we continue this?
Yeah. Like real talk. Real talk. And I don't know too, you know what I'm saying, if it's because, I don't know, to a certain degree, if 2020 itself has like halted.
Yeah, it added more of the heaviness to it. It just made it.
Yeah.
I agree. And I would say, coupled with, I wasn't expecting to share this, but I definitely would share this, because this will actually give a full scope too with me. A lot of it too, I wouldn't even say it was just the show itself, because I feel like the show is what gives us life sometimes. It's like sometimes we can be having like a bad day. We're like, we got this recording. But by the time that recording is over, we're like, man, I'm on fire today.
Flip the script.
I think it was just, like you said, the other things that come with managing and maintaining a show. But also, it's like you said, it's been a heavy year. Just a lot of things that surround all of us. All of us are going through. For me, there was some personal things. I've shared in my story before that actually, and it comes back, and this is so interesting to say too, is that this was 3 years ago when I had my last, my breast cancer scare. And same with my dad.
Your dad. Mm-hmm.
And, at that time, too, my mother was going through health problems at that time. But this time, my aunt was diagnosed with COVID, and it didn't look good. And so, here we are 3 years later, and I'm in the same situation. Had my annual checkup. And I'm saying this because at the time of this recording, it is the last day of what's quote unquote Breast Cancer Awareness Month. But, breast cancer awareness is every day.
Yeah.
And, I go for my regular checkup, and there is a mass discovered on my right breast. And, for a moment there, just thinking about everything that's happened this year and how this year has been going, that's the last thing that I needed added to the plate of what 2020 has been serving us. Right. And while I would definitely say I was much stronger this time around, maybe because, I've been through this before. And y'all, I'm definitely trying not to cry, because y'all know I'm a crier. I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna do this segment like a G.
I can see the tears. No, I can see. First of all, nose turning red, eyes is watering. I'm a snitch on you every time you start crying.
It's allergies, and it's been cold here in Texas the last few days. It's cold and allergies.
No, don't you blame that on that cold front.
Cold front, that night air. um, um, I'll say this real quick because I want, like I said, I feel like I keep bringing the show down. I'm sorry, y'all, but I do want to, like I said, I wanted to only say this because I want us, meaning women, actually men and women,
Yeah, come on,
especially if it runs in your family, to definitely have our regular checkups, whether that's breast examinations or what, just checkups in general, because there have been, a lot of cases around us where people were just fine and, the next minute they're sick.
Man.
And, I don't want to go down that rabbit hole, but just, take care of your health and really pay attention to the signs of your body and things that are changing and document. But for our women or Black women, all women, please go get your examinations handled as soon as possible.
And I would just add to that: do your research on your physicians. If you've been going to a particular physician for years, if this is somebody that's just your family always went to, but something's just not sitting right with you, especially as Black women. Do your research, ask around, go for, you know what I mean? Like, I feel like just because somebody got MD behind their name does not make them qualified.
Yeah.
And there are just things, for us that we have to really, really take into consideration. So, it's okay to say, you know what, I gotta cut ties and I gotta do what's best for my health, my mental, all of that, because that all encompasses the same thing. And so I, just highly encourage, especially our Black women, Black families, not just Black women, but our Black families, our Black men, our children, like make sure you're doing the research. And if possible, I know that's not always attainable depending on where you live, but if you can find a physician that, understands the fullness of you, then
we talk a lot. We talked actually a lot about that in this season.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dr. Courtney, especially as it being, being your own advocate as a patient or having someone there with you to be. And I know with COVID, that can kind of be a little tricky too, because, some of the restrictions, but yes, if y'all missed those episodes, check out our episode with Dr. Courtney, with the therapists that we've had plenty of different mental health and clinical therapists on our show that have given us different tips and just fabulous research around findings that relates to us and how we can maintain our own health. So but let me finish this.
Sure, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Then we can move on. No. Yeah. So yes, the doctor found a mass, and next was for me to schedule my sonogram, and she wanted to do a ultrasound, to have a sonogram and ultrasound. Not her, but she referred me to a specialist to get that done. Yeah. And at first, I didn't think I was going to be seen until November. And I thought about it, it's October. So everyone is getting, mammograms, pickups. And so, it's capacity right now. But they actually called me a few days later, maybe 2 days, maybe the next day. It was not more than 2 days, and was able to get me scheduled within that week.
Oh, that's nice.
Which was, because while I was definitely stronger this time around, I'm not going to lie, I removed a lot. So I stopped, I kind of removed myself from social media, meaning that I wasn't really on, and I tried to limit that type of interaction from, personal space. Really wasn't watching TV, because not even just from, just that removal stuff, but also because, I wanted to release certain things that was causing added stressors that I didn't need, especially around election time, whatever side you on. I just got tired of seeing it and hearing it and just seeing the divide and seeing all the ugliness. So I removed the things that I didn't need to, that was just unconsciously and consciously adding more stress to me. So I went in, and I will say, if you've never, especially for people like Terry and I's age, usually, the recommended age for a mammogram is 40 years old, unless,
there's some family history.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I will say, and I thought it was just the first time, but even the second time, my experience in going to offices that are specific to breast care,
right,
have been my most pleasant experiences as far as medical care. I don't know if it's just because we're all in there for the same general kind of thing.
Right.
But and also too, a lot of the women, because like I said, the general age for getting a mammogram is 40 and up. A lot of them are older.
Yeah.
And they just have that sweet nurturing spirit. I guess they can sense that you're younger or you might look younger. I remember my first time, I can't remember what she said her last name was, but I remember her name was Marie. And she was so sweet. She saw me in the corner, kind of like, gosh, I don't want to cry. You gonna be a G, Yana. You said you was gonna be a G today. No, she saw me in the corner, and I was kind of like, because this is my first time.
Sitting on pins and needles.
Yeah, I didn't know what to expect. Half naked with with them little wraparound vest on the top half. And I'm sitting, because they take you to this little locker room type of space where you get changed. And then there's a little waiting room in there. And then they call you, depending on what you were having. For me, I was having a mammogram and an ultrasound again the first time. So they'll call you back for each of those procedures, whatever. But as I'm sitting, and that wait, that anticipation, it's not like a normal, like when you go into a normal doctor's checkup, that wait is just more of a frustrating wait because you're like, I'm ready to be seen.
Get in and get out
of here.
Yeah.
But that specialist wait, when you're sitting and you're there because there might be a problem, and that after being seen, it can go probably one or two ways. There's not a problem or there is a problem. There's a really bad problem. And I think too, I was caught up in, I'm like the youngest person sitting in this room. It gotta be bad if I'm in here right now. And then I started thinking about my family history. I've shared on my father's side. Like, I've had a lot of women pass from breast cancer, some aunts, I believe my grandmother, a host of cousins, like in not just pass, but even have it. I have an aunt right now that has it, and she's thankfully in remission. But I'm not oblivious to the fact that, there's a high chance.
Yeah.
Yes. So I sitting there and I'm like, gosh, I might get some news that even though this schedule appointment has already been like, I've had days and this is my first time, I had days to process, and I have this appointment. It still doesn't really hit you till you sitting in them chairs. It's like, I might get some bad news today.
Yeah.
But I think the women in that space, they can feel that and they know that. And Miss Marie she helped. This was pre-COVID. She held my hand and she, kind of like rubbed my back. I was like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then even like the medical professionals behind the scenes that were going through all the procedures with me, I've never had that level of care, like that empathy. I didn't feel rushed. They talked to me the whole way. They reassured me that, whichever way it was going to go, that I was going to have support. Yeah. So, and when I got the ultrasound, which if y'all been pregnant or someone has been pregnant, it's the same technology they use when, they look for the baby, but they do the same thing for your breast. And she's pulling the scope of that area and she says to me, I see it. And when she said, I see it, I was like, oh, Lord.
Take me now, Lord. What you see? What is it?
What you see?
What you see?
Oh, excuse me. But it is so crazy because it was probably like the size. I can't remember the exact. It was like point something, 0.7, I think, centimeters. Very tiny, very tiny. But I'm like, how something that tiny can make a big difference. But she did say that that one was what they call, and y'all medical professions, if y'all listen, if I say this wrong.
Benign.
It was benign, but it was called fibroadenoma. I can't remember.
I don't know her.
But basically it's a, like you said, a benign kind of, anywho. Yeah. I broke down when she told me that it was benign. I was like, I guess I was gonna cry either way, Ralph. I was like, she didn't believe it. She said benign. And she said, oh, sweetheart. She hugged me for the longest, the doctor did. And she was just like, I know exactly how you feel. And you can stay here as long as we can stay here as long as we need to, or I can bring people in to help you. And but she was like, I want you to know that you're okay. And she was like, I understand how you feel. She's like, because at the time I was 30. She was like, you're young. You just turned 30. And she was like, I was in the very same scenario as you when I was 30. And that was one of the reasons why I chose this path, was because the emotions that you feel and felt was exactly how I felt. And I wanted to make sure whoever left this space, whether if it was good news or bad news delivered, that they knew that there was hope for them. I mean, that they had somebody at least doing the best. Like, she didn't want to say like hope, like, because if things are bad, you can't as a medical professional say like everything's gonna be okay. But I knew exactly what she meant, and she did something that's never happened for me before. She asked if she could pray for me in that moment, and I was like, girl, y'all taking prayers. Somebody buy me a Honda. Yes. She prayed for me and hugged me. And yeah, that was my first experience. Second experience, it's COVID. We're in COVID season now. So, dressing room and, just the waiting room is very sparse because they're trying to maintain that, the levels of social distancing and, being very following the protocols for keeping everyone safe. But I will still say that even like there was one other lady that was in the waiting room with me. She was just like, girl, she helped me laugh through it. She was just like, because if y'all don't know, when you go to get like a mammogram and different things, they'll tell you not to wear any deodorant, not to put any powders or anything on. And so she was just joking. She was like, girl, I don't know how long we're going to have to wait in here. They know they can't keep us in here. We ain't got no deodorant on. They're going to tell me to lift this arm up and put this breast on there. And they're going to get me. I'm laughing because I was like, I'm sure over here sweating and I know I'm a little raunch.
And that stress sweat is different than just regular sweat. I'll tell you, okay?
I mean, I was freshly shaved because I didn't know if that interferes either. But I ain't had no hair under my arm, but sweat was coming. And I was like, oh Lord, I didn't think about that when I had to lift my arm up, put my breast in the thing, and they probably whoop. But I was like, thankfully, we all wear masks. This is one time.
Right. Is it me? Is it you? I don't know. I think, girl, put your mask on. You got your mask on?
Oh, but that was cool. And again, the same experience. The doctor, the nurses were the lab techs or
the radiologists.
Yes.
Yeah.
All of them were they're very personable and very, I just felt like that what they call was a bedside manner or whatever you call it. I feel like I've gotten the best bedside care manner in those spaces, at least from my experience of getting my mammograms and stuff done.
Yeah.
So I say that, and I can't speak to all offices and spaces, but I say that to tell people that it's not a bad experience. Even getting the mammogram it's more uncomfortable than anything. Somebody's, a machine squeezing on your breast, and when you got a lot of them like me, it's a lot to grip.
Let me tell you something. I had my first mammogram I was about 29, 30.
Oh, really?
Similar situation. It's a cyst that just will, every once in a while, I had a little leakage. Anyway, same thing, but at least you got something to put on the thing. Because
I didn't think about it when
you don't have nothing to put on the machine. And then I'm like, what? I don't know what you're going to grip, ma'am. Like, and she's like trying to help me grip and put in, and we struggling, okay? We were struggling. Do you understand what I'm saying? So at least you got plenty of meats to put in the machine.
I wish I can donate some, because
if you're going to donate, then donate. You said you was going to donate, then donate. Do you understand what I'm saying? I did not mean to take away from your story, by the way.
Oh, this is what's needed. Because I ain't gonna lie, when I told Cordell the second time that I was like, a mass has been found, I gotta go through this over again, and I was like, I don't know what to do, and I was like, you know what? I just want to just get rid of them. I don't want them no more. He was like, well, hold up, wait, we don't even know.
What you saying now? Wait a minute. No, we're not just gonna cut them out and throw them away. He was like, can we make a mold of them first or something? We're not gonna just get rid of them. No, first of all, thank you. Are you done?
I'm done. I went way longer than what I had said. That's why you never leave with the disclaimer. I ain't gonna hold you too long. I'm gonna be real quick at this story, because we know the story ain't gonna be quick.
Black people, we are never quick with our story.
You should learn that in church. I ain't gonna hold you too long. That meant that we should have packed lunch, a light snack,
some snacks in the purse,
maybe some change clothes,
something. At least some flats.
Right.
But no, I was just saying, like, thank you for sharing that, and for our listeners to hear that, because that's important. That's extremely important. I have to agree with you. My experience was very similar, but I think my stress was a little less, only because I know everybody's like, but y'all cousins. Well, if you didn't hear what Yana said, the breast cancer, the history of breast cancer runs on her dad's side of the family. So Yana and I are cousins. Her mother, and my father's side. But there is a history from my maternal grandmother for cysts in the breast. My grandmother's actually had a couple of cysts removed, but I really didn't think much about it. So I had been nursing Autumn, right? Mm-hmm. And again, I wasn't necessarily trying to wean her off, but she was like giving me like she was probably like 9 or 10 months old. And I was like, no, like, let's not do this. Like, she was just kind of like, she was getting kind of irritated with me on a certain particular breast. And then whenever she would latch on a particular breast, it just was like, it's this excruciating type of pain. It was like, what is this? This is not normal. And so eventually she just kind of weaned herself off. And I was not even gonna lie, I was glad she was at that point, because every time she would latch on to the left side, it was intense. And so I ended up going for like an annual probably about a year after she was born. Before then, like, I started noticing, like, it felt like something was in my nipple, to the point where I wanted to squeeze my nipple, but I didn't know why. I just had an urge to want to squeeze my nipple. This is all really graphic. Sorry, y'all. But I was wanting to squeeze my nipple. And I remember being in a shower, and I thought it almost had the similar sensation, when you're going to have letdown.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it was a similar sensation of letdown, but it wasn't this. It was just, I would just kind of get this intense, like, I want to let down, but nothing's coming out. And so I was like getting this feeling. I was like, I should just squeeze it. Maybe I've got like some like bad. It was I kept thinking in my head, maybe it's a clogged duct, a milk duct.
Milk duct. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, maybe that's what it is. Maybe I just need to try to express it and like, it'll be gone. And so I got in the shower. I was like, let my, I'm saying, try to like warm everything up, whatever, try to make it a little more,
Yeah.
And I start squeezing and sure enough, stuff's coming out, but it's not milk. It's like a whitish, grayish mixed with a little bit of blood. And immediately I was like, holla, wait a minute. What is this? What is going on? I was like, that's not normal. And I was like, but
did you have any pain? Like
just in my nipple. Like I said, I wouldn't even call it, besides the pain from her whenever she was.
It just felt heavy, like it was needing relief.
Was it? No, it wasn't. You know how when you're having letdown and you can feel the milk coming out of your nipples?
Oh, yeah. Gotcha.
That, not like I know I'm getting like ready
gorge,
to, not the engorge. Yeah, not the engorge feeling, just the letdown of the milk getting ready to come out your nipples. This is so sorry.
No, this is real.
So anyway, I'm like, yo, that's so weird. So I was like, I'm just gonna wait a couple days, because once I squeeze the stuff out, I was like, but it felt so much better once I had like squeezed everything out. I was like, okay, but I was like, that's just not normal. So I'm like keeping it in the back of my head, and probably like a few days later, it happened again. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna squeeze it again to see what happens. And the same thing. I was like, something's not right. So I immediately called my doctor, see if I could come in. She's like, of course. Ironically, had no idea. Shortly after that, my doctor was diagnosed with breast cancer.
Wow.
Thank God she survived, but she went through an intense period. And she's in remission, I should say now. But they checked me and she said, she did some palpitations, and she was like, I'm not really sure. She was like, I'm just going to try to like, see if I can get something out. And she did. She was like, yeah. She's like, I'm going to send you over, try to get you set up with the breast imaging center. And so they made me an appointment. So then kind of the same thing, kind of like that waiting period. It wasn't that long, probably about a week or so. But of course, my mom was like, well, Lord, I'm too young for this. And there's no history of the big C in that form in my family. I'm like, that's not even a thing. Like, this is weird. And I was like, I've got young babies at home at this time. Like, Autumn's like maybe a year old, or she's at least a year old at this point. Zoe's 3. Like, I've got young babies at home. And so I remember going in, and same thing. It was just kind of like it's not the same thing as like, let's get you in and get you out. But, and then that same thing you were explaining is like the thought of like, whatever information I find out could be, you know what I'm saying? It could be life or death. Like, it really can't, you don't know. And of course, I'm there by myself because my husband is gone out of town for work. And I'm like, dude, like, this sucks going in here. You know what I mean? Like just having to go in by yourself. But same thing, they were super nice. And I remember them giving me like a cute pink robe. And I was like, oh, this is lush. This is nice.
I ain't gonna hold y'all. I wanted one of them little vests to take home just to be.
What is this? Ow.
Like not a poncho, but like a wrap type thing.
Yeah.
Girl,
I'm feeling this.
It was
house, girl.
Free.
Yes. But they did the mammogram first, and so the whole joking was like, I had heard horror stories from older women who first time they were going to get mammograms, and everybody was talking about how much it hurt. And it was like,
yes, I was thinking that too.
Girl was scared. I think I was more scared of that initially than having to find out whether this was something or not. And so anyway, I was like, so I'm nervous. And she's helped me, and we trying to get the thing on there, and they squeeze it down, they take the images. And I was like, whoo, okay, that wasn't as bad as I thought, but it was a struggle. We were struggling.
I mean, too, because you had to, I ain't gonna joke on your height, but I was like, did you?
No, that too. No, absolutely, y'all. I'm short
because the machine you have to stand into it.
Yes. So I'm on my tiptoes. You know, you let Kevin Hart be telling the joke, he on his tiptoes. I was on my tiptoes, okay, y'all? Trying to get myself in this machine. It was a struggle. You are not lying. So anyway, got that over with. And then they take me to the imaging room and, they turned down the lights and waiting. And, same thing. They're starting the ultrasound and tech says, okay, I do see something here. And I was like, oh Lord Jesus, what do you see? Do you see what I see? Like, what do you see? And lady said,
no, I didn't mean to cut you off, but when they doing the scope and different things and they showing I'm over here trying to like turn
they measuring
and I'm seeing all kind of lines. I'm like, oh Lord, it's a lot going on in there.
That gray matter, white matter, what is that? Why is that area look? That's dark. Now that's really light.
That's
and
a big ball. That's a little circle. That's what it is.
Got your arm up. You try
to look, try to peep. And I
look like, on the thing.
Tell me because. And then when they had they take the images down, they're like, let me go take this to the doctor.
Yeah.
Sitting there, they're like, they taking forever. What they doing, Lord?
Forever. Thankfully, it was a cyst, but at the same time, they were just like, we're going to you keep an eye on it. You watch it. If something abnormal outside of what's been happening starts to happen, you immediately give us a call, come in, we'll check you out. So I've just and I still have the same issue. Like literally as we speak right now, like I have the sensation to want to,
is it clogged or something? They say it would continuously happen, or
it's just a cyst, and you know how cysts sit in the material that makes the stuff that comes out. It kind of sits in it has its own little sac. That I don't even know if that makes sense. And so you can get rid of it, but the material just kind of it'll fill back up.
And almost kind of like when you get a boil, how it
kind of. Yeah, I guess you could say sort of like that. Yeah. And so mine is kind of based off of my hormones. And so depending on like where I am in the month and all that stuff, it's just a more likely chance where it wants to be bothersome. And then other times it's not. Yeah.
That's what they said about my second one. The second time around, the area was more, they just said it was just breast tissue and how it just gets changed, and they said it may just be hormonal or the diet. Could be a little bit of both because this last month been a little struggle for the girl, but hormones too. It's crazy what them hormones that do to you.
Hormones be all
computer singing. I done turned everything off. My bad, y'all. Had chimes going on.
Listen, I can't hear anything, by the way, if that's happening.
You hear the
no.
Oh, okay.
I haven't heard anything.
Oh, well, good.
Yeah. I was like, on my end, I'm not hearing anything, but it could be because I'm chatting too. But I wasn't trying to hijack your story at all, but it was more of like I can relate to your story. And it's important, I think, for people to hear.
Yes, I was going to say that. You didn't hijack it at all. We didn't even expect the conversation to go here, but we're being led by this conversation had to reach someone's ears for them to make the move to get checked out.
Yeah. Real.
I pray that whoever this touches, that, you take care of yourself, rather, not even beyond the breast, but whatever it is.
Yes.
Especially if you have a history of anything that runs in your family, that you keep your own,
I mean, you need to be paying attention, watch, what I'm saying, doing self-breast exams at your home. And like you said, not just anything dealing with like breast or anything, but any kind of
anything. If you got family that got high blood pressure running, get you a cup.
Yes.
The little blood cup.
Yeah.
And keep regular check of your monitor monitor your blood pressure.
Absolutely. I feel like anything that is happening with you that has not been happening before, that seems to start coming consistently or based, you know what I'm saying? Like, get a check. It could be
Even if ain't nothing going on, get a check. Get a check at least once.
Your annuals, please.
Get your annual and your labs. Get your lab work, your blood work done.
Yes.
Do it.
Yes.
And I know we're not medical professions to say the least. So, definitely consult your doctors.
Right.
But we are definitely advocating and we really want to make sure that even as part of our conversations, health is one of the most important, because we can't do anything. We can't go out here and teach and practice and grow and learn and develop and do whatever as it relates to anything surrounding us in our space if we ain't healthy.
Amen. Say it again.
We can't do anything if we're not healthy, if we're not here.
Yep. Yeah.
Mind, body, and soul.
Amen. Amen.
That's been our PSA for today on Melanated Conversations.
Also, wear your goddamn mask, okay?
Please. No, seriously, y'all. It's been some people close and far that have passed with this thing. And while we know a mask can't prevent it, it can assist with the prevention.
Absolutely.
And whatever side of the aisle that you stand on with wearing a mask and not wearing a mask, we're not here for debating that. When you think about how this virus can affect different people in different ways, you want to do your part in however you can to curb it getting to someone else, because while it may not affect you, it could kill somebody else.
And it's not even just that, because I think sometimes people try to compare numbers to flu and COVID and all this other stuff. And here's the thing.
And I get tired of that conversation. Let me tell you, I don't want the flu either. So.
Exactly. Child, let me tell you, I be hearing somebody got the flu. Stay away from me. Do you hear me? Keep your distance, please and thank you. But I was going to say about that was not about just the argument so much but because some of the research, I know this is still new. This is still new and it's still ongoing, and things are constantly changing at the hour. The CDC is changing things and stuff like this. But what I think one of the pretty consistent things that has been coming out since at least the summer is that people are having long-term effects even once they recover from this. Other parts of their bodies and systems are being affected by this particular virus, unlike the flu. You know what I'm saying? And so for people to just be like, it's just like the flu or not that many people are dying. Well, number one, I don't care how many people are or are not. People are dying. Number one, let's get that straight. People are dying. So we should care.
Right. Numbers don't matter when death is involved.
Exactly.
One is too many.
One is too many. And like I just said, like the people are having long-term effects. I know a guy who I went to high school with, he's like a year or two younger than me, got COVID this summer. And I can share this just because he kind of he wrote a story about sharing it, but got it this summer. Didn't have I think he said maybe had like a mild case, but a few months later ended up having some issues with his lungs. And now it's one of those things where it's like, this potentially is going to affect him for the rest of his life. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like young cat, a young guy, healthy guy, very healthy guy. And unfortunately now, because he contracted this, now he's going to suffer from long-term effects with, or potentially long-term effects, on his
we gotta
respiratory
release the
system.
stigma that just because I'm healthy or whatever they're saying are high risk people that it doesn't affect me. It can affect
anybody.
And I wish that we would be more. We would have the mindset of thinking this could affect me like it has affected so many people that have passed from this. Like this could potentially, like, I'm not going to continue go down that rabbit hole, but I know as for me and my household, now there's, we can't avoid life and living and doing the day-to-day things, but even with doing that, still being very cognizant and mindful of creating a action plan for one, and also recognizing and knowing just the basic things. If I've traveled somewhere, if my kids have traveled somewhere and did something, maybe let's not go anywhere. Maybe we just gonna have to put ourselves on a timeout, or maybe we're gonna really have to, if it's really at a point where we just have to do something, that we are really being very cautious of the things that we do and the surroundings and trying to social distance as much as we can.
Yeah.
Because we know there are certain things that you just can't avoid. You can't avoid going to the grocery store. I mean, I guess you could in a way, but you still gotta eat, you still gotta live, you still gotta maybe go to work, you still gotta, some people still gotta they just have to have their kids go to school. I mean, you still have to do things to survive and live. But
absolutely,
whatever you do, I'm just asking, just do it cautiously. Don't just live your life reckless. I just see some people like, and I'm gonna say this one thing, and I'm really gonna get off of this topic. Was the World Series with the Dodgers? I think it was, and won. And first of all, there's a lot of questions that need answers. Like, how did he make it through 6 innings of a game,
and then suddenly
be tested for COVID?
That don't even
positive,
make sense.
And then to have the audacity to come back.
Screw what y'all saying.
Screw with everybody around me. I don't know what. I'm just, I'm going to celebrate my team. Not thinking about these teammates have families.
Yep.
It might not affect them personally. They could be asymptomatic, but they can carry it and bring it home to somebody that's not, or a fan, or somebody that may bring it and carry it to somebody else. Like, I just could not wrap my mind that he could be so, I wanted to say a word I shouldn't say, but he could be just,
don't be censoring yourself on here,
that reckless and not care.
Yep.
Like, that's the type of stuff I'm talking about. Just, and you gonna affect somebody.
Yeah. I mean, and like you just said too, it's like, this was like the World Series game. Like, this was the determinant of, okay, now everything is over with and we can get out of this bubble and we can go back home to our families, to our respective places. Meaning now at this point, you are free from whatever obligations you have. And now you're free to go back out into the world. And you make that choice and that decision. And then on top of that, your boy was like, all right, I'm going to come out here. All right, I'm going to celebrate with my teammates. All right, I got a mask on. But actually, I'm just going to pull the joint off. No. He had it on and then pulled the joint off.
He didn't have a mask.
So that's, my saying.
I know, I'm saying that's still not.
Yeah, you didn't have.
You ain't wearing the right. You ain't wearing it.
Blatantly just pulled it off. Like, it's the empathy for me. It's the lack of empathy for me. That's what it really is.
And I think that's been the biggest thing for me. Not even just COVID in general. And that's the reason why I had to turn away from social media, turn off my TV for weeks, because of the lack of empathy and the lack of just, I care for one another. Like, I was talking to my best friend the other day, and she shared with me, she was like, sis, sometimes, man, this world can be so cruel. She was like, she was at the grocery store and it was this lady in the line, an older lady. She wasn't melanated, let's just say that.
You didn't have to tell me that. I already knew
that. That was standing in the line in front of her, and she said just a couple of groceries on the conveyor belt, and when the clerk rung up all her stuff, I think she was getting food stamps, and I think they said she was only getting like $18 a week or something like that. First of all, who can survive $18 a week? But that's neither here nor there. And she was over by like $2. And my friend, she actually wasn't right behind her in the line. I think she said it was another person in front of her that was right behind her. And she's like, it just broke my heart to see this lady. Like, she's like, she didn't have but a little bit of stuff. And she had like things like, like potted meat, whatever, something that she could afford with her budget. She said she actually had more like food for her cat. She had little cat food. Wow. And she was like, I'll get it. She said, no, matter of fact, you get out the line and we gonna find some, we're gonna get you
some more stuff, stuff.
But before she said that, the person behind the line, she was just getting agitated, like, oh, I just wish, and it was just, I don't know. It was just, this lack of empathy and care. And she was just like, no, ma'am, come on out here and you get whatever you need. I'ma get it. And she's like, she broke down. She was like, that's the first time something like this has ever happened to me. And she was like, she's like, she's by herself. She's like, I think she was like maybe in her 80s.
Oh, wow.
Doesn't have anybody. And she was like, I haven't really eaten in weeks because I'm really trying to stretch what I have. And she was like, because when she was getting groceries, she was like, you sure I can get? She was like, get what you need. Get what you need. And she was like, she just broke down crying. She was like, I've never experienced this in my life. And she was like, I didn't have anybody. I didn't think stuff like this happened to people. And my friend was just like, man, that broke me down to hear that and to see that and to see like we in this country are fighting over nothing. And it's people in this world like her.
Or fighting over donkeys and elephants. You feel me? Bloods and Crips.
I mean, they don't have the basic essentials. I don't care what side of the party line you on. I'm on the side of love. And right. I just can't. It just sometimes I don't understand how we can live in a world and be okay with people not having the basic essentials to just live. I'm not asking for everything. I'm just saying food, shelter, and health. Like food.
You need food. We all need food.
I don't care what line of the party you stand for. Everybody should be able to eat.
Yep.
And if you feel otherwise, then how can you say you care for a life of another being, or you stand? I'm not going to go down that hole either, because I know that can lead to a whole nother. We can go. We can go
there
on that. But she was just like, man. My friend was just telling me, she was like, seeing her broke me, because this is where we've come with the world. And and she was like, I thought about my own grandma in that situation. That could be my grandma out
that here. Literally, you said 80 something. I was like, that's grandma's. And that's Granny and Nancy.
Is that what I have to look forward to? I mean, when I get older, because we don't know what life could serve us.
Exactly.
But giving the gift of empathy and care is free to anybody to give.
Costs you nothing.
Costs you nothing.
Yep.
I don't know how I got here, but
no, you're fine. I'm restraining myself because I don't want to go down rabbit holes. So I'm letting you you keep talking because I'm the.
But it's just things like that, and I don't say that to say that there's no good in this world, because that is the one thing that I have. That's why I had to tune out so much, and cutting out social media was a big part of that.
Yeah,
it was because I had to get back to the realization that not everything is bad. There is good, and you have to focus on the good and trying to do better so there can be more good.
Yeah.
But I'm not gonna lie, it brings you down when you see simple things like that, and how people, for one, take advantage of just the things that they have. And I, for one, I can raise my hand and say that, because, I'm not where I want to be. But if I look back on this year, on myself and my family, I can say for sure that I am definitely blessed. Or even the fact that even if we don't get anything more than what we have now, I'm blessed to the fact that all four of us can be in the house together. That's number one. Even when you're tired of seeing each other, I'm blessed that all four of us can be home.
And I can be tired of seeing you. Yeah.
I'm blessed that my husband can work from home. And I can pursue my own business ventures.
Yeah.
I'm thankful just for, for good health. Every morning, that's something that we definitely, my husband, both do. We allocate at least 15 minutes to just meditate on the things that we're grateful for. And if you do that, you will realize how much you are truly blessed, because the things that you don't necessarily take the time to think about are the very things that some people are hoping and longing for.
Yes, say that again.
I would even just say random things like, not random, but just even thinking of just waking up and saying, I'm grateful for this bed.
Yes.
I'm grateful to be able to walk. I'm grateful to see, even though I gotta have my contacts.
Come on.
I'm grateful that I can get contacts and glasses.
Amen.
Even when you just start doing that, it creates this, everything connects, and it creates this domino effect. Like I just said, I'm grateful I can see. I'm grateful I got contacts. I'm grateful I can even.
Life becomes so much more meaningful. Life becomes so much more meaningful. It's not trivial anymore, right? You don't take those things for granted, and you understand that they're all connected and given to you as a gift for a reason. And on top of that once it's a gift, so somebody gave that to you. You know what I'm saying? Like a creator enabled you to be able to see, you know what I'm saying? Enabled you to be able to take breath, enabled you to be able to have the wisdom and the knowledge and do the things that you're able to do to be able to accomplish your goals. You know what I'm saying? Like, for me, I'm sorry, I keep cutting you off, and
you're not cutting me off. This is a two-way conversation.
But for me, it's very similar in the aspect of, like, I think of it from that perspective of, like, number one, yes, the world is crazy and evil is running rampant. And for a lot of people, it can make them feel hopeless, right? It can make them feel like if this is what this is, then they don't want it, right? We're seeing higher rates of suicide and depression, and just with all the things that are just happening just this year, not on top of just the things that people individually have to deal with personally in their own lives, right? Just collectively, everybody is dealing with hard things, but then you got to deal with personal hardships, right? And so people can become so hopeless. And for me, it really is we talk about all the time, like every episode, I feel like my faith is so important to me. And it's not that it's my faith, but it's my faith and my hope and my trust in Jesus Christ and what God has done for me. Because when I read the word, I can see time and time again where He has said something and he has always kept his promises and he doesn't change. And we're fickle. Human beings, we're fickle. That's our sin nature. That's just what it is. We are fickle. We don't keep our word. We are not nice to one another. We're not loving. We're not kind. That's what it is if we're being honest. But God is love. The Bible tells us that God is love. And so when I say I'm going to remove myself and then I say I'm going to believe, number one, I'm going to believe that the statement that God is love, that's a true statement, that's a fact. I'm going to trust that. I'm going to believe that. And then I got to remove Terrian completely away from the picture and say, okay, Lord, now I'm going to believe that what you say is true. And I'm going to give all that other stuff over to you. Because at the end of the day, if I touch it, once again, we talk about putting our hands and stuff. If I touch it, I'm going to jack it up every single time, no matter what it is, no matter what I think my intentions may be good. At the end of the day, I'm still going to always be thinking about myself if we be honest. And so I have to let the Lord lead me. I have to surrender to whatever he's called and wants for my life. And so for me, that's where I'm able to find hope. Back to like you talking about reflecting, which I think is so important. And I love that like you and Cordell like sit and do these meditations and reflect early in the morning. And then you just like when you were talking about how, like the very things a lot of times that we can feel like are annoying or agitating or burdensome to a certain degree where other people are like, man, I wish I had that. And so often, and there's so many things, but so often with my children, like literally the other night, it's like 7:30. It's almost time for them to go to bed. I'm tired. It's been a long day. And they're running through the house, laughing, giggling, And I had to stop and pause for a moment. Because in that moment, I can be like, y'all sit down, be quiet. You get on my nerves, get ready for bed. Y'all doing the most. But I took a different approach and I said, thank you, Lord, for my children. Thank you, Lord, that I get to hear the running of feet in the house. Thank you, Lord, that I get to hear laughter, that my children are flourishing in a pandemic. And you know what I'm saying? In social unrest, my children are okay. They are happy. Thank you, Lord. You know what I'm saying? And so sometimes it takes us shifting our perspective. See, wait a minute.
No, let it out. You know, I'm pro cry.
No, I know you are.
I'm on cry.
That's why I said, wait a minute, because this is not supposed to be happening. This is false. This is wrong.
Let it out. Let it flow.
We're going to delete this part.
Rain.
We're going to delete this part. But no. Huh? What you saying?
I said, no, we're not deleting nothing.
But yeah, just think like those it really is the little things in life. It is truly the little things in life. And so I think about it a lot of times. I'm like, ooh, my kids be getting on my nerves. But Lord, there's so many people that want children.
Yes.
Long to have, you know what I'm saying, to be parents and to be mothers and to be fathers. And they're not able to.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful, you know what I'm saying, like that the Lord has been sustaining us. And we've had trying times this year, and friends have gone through so much this year, and family has gone through so much this year. We are all going through it, but God is still good at the end of the day, and I can truly, truly say that He is still good. And that's what that's the only thing I cling to. It's the only thing that I hold on to is God's goodness and His faithfulness. Because at the end of the day, I don't have anything else, if I'm really being honest. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have family, right? I have you, I have my husband. I'm not talking about that type of stuff. Because at the end of the day,
we still human.
You're still human, exactly. And those things can fade away. Mm-hmm. God is eternal and He does not change. And so that's where, that's for me, that's a huge reflection for me to share. And that it's ironic that like, if, we Dre and I, we left our church, and then shortly after that, like our church disbanded. And it's like, kind of feel like we're not in a spiritual
limbo.
Yeah, so was kind of feeling like that, especially earlier this summer. It's like we're in a limbo. Like, what do we do? And it's so crazy though. Like, even though we are not quote unquote connected to a particular church right now, I feel like
plug directly to the source. You feel more.
We are so plugged to the source right now is insane. And like really being in the word, and like my kids being in the word, like it's just been, that's not even, you know what I'm saying? That's not to say, like, I know people have arguments on both sides about like whether we need to be physically in church or we don't, and the church is not the building and da da and all that back and forth type of stuff too. And I think it's a little bit of both. I think, you know, in scripture does talk about like you do want to make sure at some point that you are collectively coming together. But at the same time, yeah, the church is not.
The church shouldn't be above God and his word.
Exactly. Because at the end of the day, if it does that, then that becomes an idol. And that's idolatry. Yes. And God don't like that. He don't like that. Mm-hmm. So, yeah. So for us, you know, we still, just the fact that we can still, that as much as we feel like we're in a church limbo, I should say, not a spiritual limbo, we're in a church limbo. Mm-hmm. Spiritually, I feel like we're like on all four cylinders. And it's just really, it's good. So. Yeah, I really don't know what I was saying to say.
No, it all ties together, and like everything that you said. And one thing that 2020 has taught me is that even in the midst of a quote unquote bad, mm-hmm. you can rest in knowing that there is good waiting. Like there can't be. There's nothing that can be bad. You can't say it's bad if it doesn't have a good aspect, because that means that cancels out that it's being bad, right?
Right.
So I lean more to the fact that even whatever situation I'm in or I'm seeing or whatever is going on, to just flip my thinking of it from the good side of it. Mm-hmm. It's hard sometimes to see the good side of certain things. Well, I'm gonna tell you, it'll be hard. I'll be searching high and low,
to and from.
But I'm gonna give something that's general. And sometimes, for some people, this might be bad. And for me, it's not bad because I like cooking when I feel like it. But sometimes you might feel like, dude, I got all these things going on. I just don't feel like it. I don't want to do it. But the good side of that is you have the ability to.
Oh, come on. Break it down.
You got the groceries in your house. You were fortunate to have something to cook. You got flesh to feed. You're alive so that you can continue to live. So I challenge anyone that's listening. If y'all listening to this long, we appreciate y'all first and foremost, because
love y'all.
Right now, get on these rants and we get on the reflections. We really reflect, y'all, and y'all.
Maybe this is why we don't be doing. Maybe that's why we don't be doing solo episodes that much.
Maybe something like, oh Lord, it's another solo episode. I'm gonna just get the high level notes from the show notes and keep it moving.
Right.
I have to just break some of these up in parts 1s and 2s and 3s.
Right.
But if y'all are listening, I challenge you to, no matter what you're going through, no matter what your situation is, I know it's hard, and I'm not here to, negate the feelings and the things that you're experiencing. I'm not here to take away that from you and say that, just make it all, it's all right. Because some of those feelings too, you need to process it in the way that you need to process it. Sometimes it means crying. Sometimes it means shouting. Sometimes it could be you shutting down. It means talking. I don't know. I'm not a therapist, but that's not to say that you don't go through it in the way that you need to. Mm-hmm. But I challenge you to shape your mind in a way to where you can find some good out of it, even if that means the good is you, that you're you to that situation.
Yes.
The change could be you. You are maybe the good thing that bad thing needs.
Come on. Girl, what you talking?
So, I hope that this, from hearing me and Terrian, Terry and I, we have fun all day, and we have real conversations all day, all the time. A lot of stuff y'all don't hear, like things that we go through or experience or laugh through or joke through or talk through. text through, because we text a lot of crazy.
The group chat be off the chain. It's just me and her.
But I am thankful, and this is another reason. This is another, reflecting on us doing this show. This is another notch in why this show is so special to both you and I, is the fact that we can talk in this way and really express, because we don't know how far this conversation will go and touch. But just that we can share in this way and truly be ourselves, because we do not show up. We don't. That's one promise that Terry and I made to each other when we create this show, is if we can't show up as our true selves.
Yeah.
And I hate that the word authentic is this buzzword. Is actually one of my favorite things, because that's what I want and crave and thrive on. And that's also one of my guiding principles, is to be authentic.
Yeah.
But it's true for us is that even with, because at one point when we started the show, we was like, when we heard ourselves back that first recording, we was like, oh, we sound country. Living the on Macmillan dirt road. Well, gravel now. Did they pave it?
No, it's still gravel.
Macmillan road. But we were like, you know what? Because eventually the fake fades. You can't fake it too long.
No.
And when we get excited and deep in our conversations, you're going to get the real. And they're like, wait, they've been giving us this all this time. What is this? What is this? So we made, like I said, we made the promise to each other that if we can't show up as our full selves, and that means also the guests that we bring on our show, don't get me wrong. We love supporting our Black women in this, but let's be real. As with anybody, everybody is not for you, and that's okay.
Yeah, that's right.
And that's part of it. Especially if we're welcome. This is quote unquote our home. We're welcome into our space, and we can't be ourselves in our own space. What kind of mess?
What kind of mess? I don't like that.
I don't want it.
I don't want none of that.
But thankfully, every woman shared on this show, it's like family. It's almost like we see each other.
I'm sure that y'all listeners probably be like, every episode they'd be like, I like you, because we really do be like you.
Really like this. It's amazing what they say, like attracts like.
Yeah, some.
I know magnetics is usually the opposite, but
it is opposites attract, but yeah.
But we don't operate like magnets.
Nah, not at all. Not at all.
We do, in certain things, we have different. We have different.
We think and process things differently. Yeah,
we're not the same person, but we have, Anywho, y'all know what I'm trying to say. Like I said, if we couldn't show up for ourselves, show up as our true selves, we were not going to do this, because that'll be doing a disservice to you all, and it's certainly be doing a disservice to us.
Amen.
That's the whole purpose of Melanated Conversations, to have conversations that cater to our needs, cater to how we talk, how we walk, how we,
swivel our necks,
put on our head, in our head.
Come on.
Take out of our head.
Take our hair out. Twist it up. Flat twist. Braid it.
Because when you live in a space, when you live in a world where those things are not common, you can't just show up as your full self.
Yeah.
We weren't going to create a space where we couldn't show up as our full self.
That don't even make sense.
It don't.
To me, that makes no sense.
So we appreciate, that's a long-winded way of me saying we appreciate y'all for supporting us through this entire year of hosting this show. We've had a few changes that we've had to navigate through, and y'all have been with us since day one through this. And we just appreciate y'all, not only just for supporting us, but like I said, the women that we bring on the show. There have been so many connections that are formed for the women that have been on our show. And that's just like almost like not almost, that is like the dream come true for Terry and I when we have someone on this show and they say that it has opened doors for them.
Man.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Y'all have no idea. No idea the connections that have been made. The impacts that are happening in communities because of the connections that have been made.
Yes.
Man.
And we didn't know more than half of these women on this show.
No.
Like season 3 was nothing but referrals or maybe we had some
maybe each of us maybe personally maybe knew one person.
But everyone was referred to us. Y'all, this was the first season we did no. When I say no, I mean zero.
Yeah.
Negative.
Yeah.
Outreach to anyone to be on the show.
Yeah.
Sometimes that's mind-boggling to me to say, because we didn't even, like I said, when we started the show, we were racking our minds and our brains wondering who the heck we're going to get to talk to.
Who we going to put on the show? How are we going to have...
I might can call and see if Pookie available. She be whipping up some nice hair. She might lead us to a conversation.
Girl.
We still got Pookie and she might be coming up soon.
You never know.
But no, it was like that. But,
yeah.
Terry, that blows my mind that every woman has been referred to us.
Yeah. It's the dopest thing ever. It's the coolest thing ever. Oh my gosh.
If y'all have amazing referrals that y'all want to send to us, you can hit us up at info@melanatedconversations.com.
Yes, sir.
We appreciate it because that's how we keep the conversation going. Because like we said, this is bigger than Terrian or I. Just, man, seeing us flourish. This is the work. If I don't do anything else, I know that I've done something.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
It's not like
No, you've said everything. Legit. You literally said everything that I was thinking. Thank y'all for supporting us. We love y'all. Keep tuning in. We there would be no us without y'all. So I mean it would be us, but you know. So I guess until next time, I don't know, we'll be coming out for maybe a Christmas special. We don't know when this is going to air. I mean, it'll be November-ish. Thanksgiving-ish, maybe. I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll see what happens. But
we still got to get over this election day hump. We'll see where our mind, body, and spirit is.
Yeah.
I'm just so ready, y'all. I'm just so ready for that to be over with. Either side. Both of them got good. I'm just tired of. I'm ready to walk down my street and not see signs in the yard. I just
come on and flags flying,
commercials. When I start back watching TV, it's still not gonna be until probably a minute now. But that ain't gonna flood my system. I'm sorry.
Just made me think. No, I'll tell you offline.
So that was around. We could probably edit that out, but
sure.
Yeah,
no, you can keep it in.
Yeah.
No.
Oh,
listen. But shout out to Joe Biden's cousin, though.
You know who you are.
You know who you are. Like for real. Anyway.
Well, y'all, that's all we had. Well, it was probably a lot. But until next time,
melanate on that.
Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed our chat today. Keep the conversation going by heading to iTunes to subscribe, rate, and leaving us a review.
Have a story of your own to share? email us at info@melanatedconversations.com or connect with us on social media at Melanated Conversations. Till next time, keep raising your voice.